Padme's death was a mystery that the medical droids couldn't solve. So why did she die? Let's look at Star Wars and some of the science behind it to try to find out why. Well, hello there! My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now on to today's topic, a look at Padme's mysterious death. Padme, why'd she have to die? There are many great mysteries in Star Wars, such as what lies in the unknown regions and how is Grand Admiral Thrawn so cool? For now, let's look at the great mystery of Padme's death. I'm going to break this into two different parts. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and look at some of the more visible answers in the movie and the science behind some of them. In part 2, we'll look at a theory which might better explain why she died. In Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin spent much of the movie worrying about Padme dying in childbirth due to visions he was having. He tried to gain the power to prevent that from happening and turned to the dark side in part to prevent her death. In the end, though, the premonitions came true, and Padme did precisely that. After giving birth to twins, she died. But why did she die? Palpatine told Anakin that in his anger, he killed Padme. Did he mean when he force choked her? A signature Darth Vader move. If you recall, after Obi-Wan confronted her, Padme followed Anakin to Mustafar. There she tried to get through to Anakin and pleaded with him to leave. It went a little something like this. "You're going down a path I can't follow." "Because of Obi-Wan." "Because of what you've done, what you plan to do. Stop! Stop now! Come back! I love you." "Liar!" he says to Obi-Wan. "No." "You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!" "No!" He starts force choking Padme at this point. "Let her go, Anakin." "Anakin." "Let her go." Only at this point does he let Padme go. And then she collapses to the ground, and as she hits the ground, we can visibly see her head actually bounce on the ground. A little bit later, Obi-Wan checks on her when he gets a chance. After Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight, Obi-Wan checks on her when he gets onto the ship. She is responsive, but not doing well. After reaching Polis Massa, she is rushed into the medical bay. So, was the force choke or the impact of her head on the ground to blame for her death? The medical droid tells Obi-Wan, "Medically, she is completely healthy. For reasons we can't explain, we're losing her." "She's dying." "We don't know why. She has lost the will to live. We need to operate quickly if we are to save the babies." From this exchange, we can clearly see that Padme did not die from physical trauma caused by Anakin, either through his force choke or her head hitting the ground. Otherwise, she clearly wouldn't be found to be medically completely healthy. They would have found something wrong with her if either of those were to blame. So let's strike that one off the list. How about the claim that she died from a broken heart? I've heard that said quite a bit. Now, it could be taken to be a misinterpretation of what was said in the movie, or maybe this is the correct answer. So first off, can you actually die from a broken heart? The answer is apparently yes, you can in fact die from a broken heart. It goes by the name broken heart syndrome, also known as Takotsubo cardiomyopathy or acute stress cardiomyopathy. I'll leave some links in the description if you want to know more beyond what I tell you. We do know that Padme was under a great deal of emotional stress even before she met with Anakin on Mustafar. You can see it clearly on her face before she gets off the ship. Then comes the following conversation. "I saw your ship. What are you doing out here?" "I was so worried about you. Obi-Wan told me terrible things." "What things?" "He said you turned to the dark side, that you killed younglings." "Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me." "He cares about us." "Us?" "He knows. He wants to help you. Anakin, all I want is your love. Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that. At what cost? You're a good person. Don't do this. I won't lose you the way I lost my mother. I am becoming more powerful than any Jedi has ever dreamed of, and I'm doing it for you, to protect you. Come away with me. Help me raise our child. Leave everything else behind while we still can. Don't you see? We don't have to run away anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him, and together, you and I can rule the galaxy, make things the way we want them to be. I don't believe what I'm hearing. Obi-Wan was right. You've changed. I don't want to hear any more about Obi-Wan. The Jedi turned against me. Don't you turn against me. I don't know you anymore. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. Shortly after that, Obi-Wan appears. Anakin decides that Padme has clearly betrayed, and Anakin force chokes her, as we saw earlier. She clearly talks about a broken heart during that conversation, and she is clearly under a great deal of emotional stress. Could she have died from a broken heart? I'm pretty sure the answer here is no. Many of the symptoms of a broken heart are actually quite similar to a heart attack. There is chest pain and shortness of breath, and EKGs which are similar but distinct from a heart attack. In fact, it's often confused with being a heart attack. Some of the other differences between the two include ballooning and movement abnormalities in the left ventricle of the heart. Most people recover from broken heart syndrome and have no permanent damage. But Padme could not have had this because it most certainly would have been detected, and instead we are told that medically she's completely healthy. They would have detected that with the EKGs. They would have seen the chest pain, the shortness of breath. So clearly, we do not see this as the logical explanation. So the final explanation explicitly offered within the movie is that, quote, she has lost the will to live, end quote. What does that mean? Well, like broken heart syndrome, this too can actually happen. Losing the will to live is also known as give-up-itis, or psychogenic death. In 2018, Dr. John Leach published the first study that closely examined it and defined its stages. Dr. Leach said, quote, psychogenic death is real. It isn't suicide. It isn't linked to depression, but the act of giving up on life and dying, usually within days, is a very real condition, often linked to severe trauma, end quote. The time period tends to be somewhere between a few days of the first stage and a few weeks. The first stage is social withdrawal. We do see this in Padme, although it should be noted that social withdrawal is not unique to psychogenic death, as it is a common response to severe trauma, which Padme certainly just suffered. The second stage is a deep apathy. Survivors have described it as being a demoralizing melancholy, not just simple sadness. It's very hard to say if this fits Padme based on what we saw. The third stage is called abulia. Essentially, the apathy increases to the point that the person often stops speaking and eating and does not perform normal tasks. This does not really appear to fit as well for Padme, as we see her talk to Obi-Wan. She names her children Luke and Leia, and she tells Obi-Wan that there is still good in Anakin just before she dies. The fourth stage is called psychic akinesia, and in this stage, a person loses their response to physical stimulus. They can even encounter intense pain and have no response to it. Padme, in the midst of childbirth, is clearly reacting to it. So this doesn't seem to really fit with that psychic akinesia. And then the fifth stage? Well, the fifth stage is the final stage, which is death. It is recoverable, though. Losing the will to live can be reversed, quote, when a survivor finds or recovers a sense of choice or having some control, end quote. It would seem that Padme's choice of the names of her children might help fit the bill here, but she dies anyway. Does losing the will to live actually explain Padme's death? I have to say that it comes closer than any of the other potential reasons we've looked at. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I have to say I don't think it fits. For the reasons I've already mentioned, she still feels pain, she talks with Obi-Wan, she makes choices. And if you want to know more about losing the will to live, I'll leave some links in the description. So now we are left with no obvious answer as to why Padme died. We looked at a few, and none of them really work. And this is an intriguing mystery. And I was never really happy with her having just died due to losing the will to live. It was never a satisfying end. But what if there is a better answer? Well, I think there is, and we're going to address that with a theory I've discovered when I come back to Padme's death for part 2. So you'll have to stay tuned for that one. In the meantime, why do you think Padme died? Are you looking forward to part 2 where I discuss that theory? Let me know down in the comments. As always, I'll try to respond to everyone's comments as best I can. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please help me out and give it a like and share with your friends and family. And don't forget to come back for tomorrow's video. And if you haven't done it yet, click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you, always.